It's the middle of the holiday season and it's been so busy. I'm sure you're in the middle of it too, where I'm talking to people and it's like everybody has gone to so many parties. I mean, we just had three parties this past weekend. It's never ending, but I do have to say, I am so grateful that we get to be with people again and celebrate. And it's like, it sounds like 2023 was a year to go big. I know I've been just so fast paced in my business this past year and in our personal life that I'm really trying to slow down this month. And I made this big commitment to myself in October that I was not going to drink. And I want to talk about it openly because I do have to say that media, whether that is Instagram, whether it is watching movies or shows, drinking is so normalized as if it's supposed to happen all the time, every day, and that the way to celebrate is through drinking. And I have nothing against it. I love drinking champagne, I love wine. Going to admit with you right now, I probably have 3 to 5 drinks, if not more, a week because I have little kids and parenting is hard. And at the end of the night, it's like, oh, that glass of wine just sounds so good after the little one has had a tantrum and didn't want to eat her food and threw it. And then she's yelling and you don't know why. If you haven't been there with a child, then I'm sure there's other things in your life that you can relate to that can be really hard, where by the end of the day, you're like, you know what? If I could just relax a little bit and I know a way to do it, I'm going to do it. So what ended up actually resulting in me not drinking ended up being my body kind of rejecting it. And I'm not like a hard alcohol drinker and I'm not drinking so much every night, but I do go through phases where, like I said, I drink a few glasses a week and my body kind of just didn't want it. So I went to Scottsdale for work in October. Or wait, yeah, the beginning of October. And my first night when I was there, I wanted to celebrate. It was a big win to be able to work with somebody that is on stage and have to fly out and help them get dressed and buy everything for them, set them up for success. I wanted to celebrate, so I took myself out that night and I had a big bowl of mussels and clams, which are my favorites, my go-to, and a lot of bread. And of course, I wanted my glass of bubbly, and I didn't even drink more than that. I had a glass of bubbly. And that first night that I was sipping on it, it felt kind of off. I was like, do I need to celebrate like this? And I don't know why. I don't even know why I questioned that. That has never come to mind before when I'm doing something, but I did question myself. I'm like, yes, this is a big moment and the food is delicious, but do I need alcohol to celebrate this? I don't know. I want to explore it. So the next night that I went out for dinner by myself. I think I was out for work maybe 4 days in Scottsdale. And the next night I didn't have a drink. And on the flight back, instead of having a drink on the plane coming back, I also did not have a drink. And it was interesting because there was something in me questioning if I needed to have alcohol to have fun. And it's those moments that you question yourself that brings a new awareness. So, if we haven't met before, I'm Tanya Bernadette. I am a personal stylist. Welcome to the Closet Edit podcast. You probably did not expect an episode to be about drinking, but if you are new to the space, I'm all about integrating style and life because when you're working through how you want to show up, yes, it has to do with what you wear, but also has to do with the decisions you make and how you show up and where you show up for yourself. So, drinking is definitely, or not drinking, is definitely part of how you show up and what you want for yourself. And I, it took those few days for me to realize, you know what, maybe I do need a break. And when I got back that weekend, my husband and I were going to just go out and have fun and have a date. And he offered me a glass of wine. He's so thoughtful. He always buys a really good bottle of wine for me when I have something to celebrate, or if I had a really rough week with the kids or have been really busy, like he always likes to treat me to something really nice, whether it's like Pinot Grigio or a champagne, because I love those two. And he had this wonderful bottle of wine. I wish I remember what it was, but he offered me a glass that night on our date, and I was like, you know what? I I'm gonna go a month without drinking. And it just kind of came out. Wasn't something I initially really planned. I was questioning it and I never even had that conversation with him. And he kind of looked at me like that's random. Um, and you know what? It was something that I really did need. And the last time I think I've gone an extended period of time not drinking was what year? We were in 2023. It was, oh my gosh, I can't do my math. It must have been 5 years ago, obviously. My daughter's gonna be four. 5 years ago when I was pregnant, I wasn't that person that wants to drink when they're pregnant. I did not drink a sip of anything. So for 9 months, I did not drink alcohol. And then I did breastfeed her for a year. So for the first few months, I didn't drink because, as a first time mom, you're so cautious and timing the alcohol in your system and feeding your baby is just so much work. And you have way too much going on in your head from not sleeping. So, anyways, that was the last time I didn't drink for a long period of time, but that was to take care of a little human. Like it's almost just natural as a woman to not want to. I'm saying that, I'm sure somebody's gonna come at me with that, but for me at least, it was like there was nothing in me that said, oh, I need to drink a glass of wine. I was like, no, I need to take care of my baby. So, um, going back to my story, I did this just because it felt right. I was questioning why I felt like I needed wine to celebrate or do anything. And I'm somebody that I like a challenge, and going through this, I have many lessons that came into play that I want to share with you because it is a very personal experience. And I'm sure everybody that goes through not drinking for 30 days, you come to a new realization of yourself. I know a lot of people also end up doing it just because they want to detox or they want to feel healthy or they're doing the, I don't technically remember, I'm sorry, but it's like the no drink October month type of thing. And I did it in October because of my body and my awareness to drinking. It was like at the state where I was just curious and I wanted to dive into it more. Here are a few lessons that I learned as I was going through this. Number one, you would not think this is a lesson, but let me tell you, it was a big lesson. I learned that I am really hard on myself. I go through moments in my life where I become so focused on my task at work or a goal I want or something I want for myself that I don't give myself any other sort of time to enjoy the process. And it took drinking to realize that. It's something I do know. I don't know how to explain. Like I know that about myself, but not drinking made me really see it because when you are at parties, so in 30 days, we went to a few parties. We hosted one party, a Halloween party, and I get so uptight with the goals I want. I don't want to mess up that I sometimes can't enjoy myself. And it isn't just with drinking. So there were a few times with drinking where I was a little bit frustrated because I was enjoying myself. But when you have other people around you drinking and stuff and questioning you, it's a little frustrating. But I stayed on course. And this happens to me in other things that I'm doing. When I go through moments of, for example, working on my book, I get so hard on myself when I can't reach my due date, or I'm off by 2 days, or I didn't get to wake up and actually write. After not drinking for a month, I realize that I want to enjoy the process of my life more. I will not stop myself from having big goals, but I can aim for something big and still enjoy the simple moments along the way. I want to give myself more grace as I go through all the things I want for myself. And 2023 has been a year that has been very fast paced for my family and I. We have had so much go on personally and within my work. especially in work, it has escalated and grown to a point where we have needed more help. We have had to create more systems. We've had to get more support. Our team has grown and it's wonderful, but sometimes it's so fast paced that you don't see the little parts of it that are beautiful. For example, when I started my business, like those moments that are really hard for us actually end up giving us more strength as we go. So we're able to take more on, which is really good. That's a positive thing. But I think just still enjoying the process as we go, and remembering where we came from is really important. So that was one lesson I had. And up to now with the holidays, I have just taken that with me. And for example, even today, dropping Noah Lonnie off at daycare, I took that extra moment to just look into her eyes, tell her I love her, and just see how cute she is, how beautiful she is, how intelligent she is, and seeing her smile and giving her a kiss. And it's those little things that you keep in your head in difficult moments and you want to savor all of it. And when life is going so quickly, you don't have time to look at your kids. You don't take the time to say, I love you, to actually look at them, see them for who they are, for where they're at. And I'm grateful that I got to get that again. Number two, I learned I'm very aware of myself. So there was a time in my life, I do have to admit, where I wasn't as disciplined with my work. There was a time in my life after I got divorced. The first time I got divorced, I was about 26, maybe, and I became a very heavy drinker. I was an alcoholic for a couple years. I couldn't process my divorce because I got divorced from somebody that I loved and it was my decision. Um, and because of that place that I was at in my life, I'm surprised I didn't lose everything I had. I was not aware of myself during the time I didn't want to feel, and drinking became my escape because the pain of trying to find who I was and being on my own felt much greater than what I could take on at the moment. There's a part of me that gets scared to ever go back. And I know that will not ever be the case. I am more aware of myself and what I need today, and through the work of therapy, and even just being at a better place in my life and learning how to deal with hard feelings and hard moments. But there is that little fear. And I'm going to talk about this show called Flight Attendant, which I'm not sure if you watched. They only had one season. I really wish they kept it going. But I they did a scene that really got to me, and I had to stop the show and talk to Michael about it. And I hadn't seen it done this well before, but it showed the main character of the show she was trying to fight her past self. Like she was in a situation where she was trying to be present with her beautiful life that she created. And there was another scenario coming up where she felt like she could be tempted to go back to that person that she used to be. And it showed both sides. It was very visual. So you could see what it would have looked like if she did take that decision that could have taken her backwards in her life and ruined what she had built for herself. And it shows her where she was today and how scared she was to be tempted to go back because she didn't want that for herself, because she knew what she had now and she did not want to lose it. I don't have a better way of explaining it, but it really showed that feeling that you have sometimes in your life where you've grown so much, but there's that little part of you that questions, like, what if I went back? What if, you know, how would everything change if I never made the decisions to get to where I am today, because now my life is so beautiful. I'm grateful for having gone through all of that though, because it gives me a better understanding of what I have today and why I want to hold on to it so tightly. I've also gone through a lot of therapy, so I feel like sometimes the awareness I have for myself could also not work in my favor. Like with Michael, I overanalyze everything, and when I overreact on something or I get upset about something, within a few, it depends on what happened, but within a few minutes or a few hours, I'm very good at coming back and being like, okay, you know what? I didn't eat my breakfast on time or get to my workout. So, you know what? I was grumpy. I do have a good awareness of myself, but not drinking for 30 days really showed me that awareness I have for myself and what I want for my life and reminding me of it, reminding me of everything I have now, but I don't want to lose. Number three, I learned how much I really enjoy being present. It's hard because when I have one or two glasses, I am still there. At one or two glasses, I am relaxed. I'm still present. I can have a great conversation. Sometimes I even talk a little bit more than I need to, but um, after two glasses, I do have to say I lose more of the feeling behind the conversation. And I don't want to lose touch of my true feelings as I move through life. Even in times where we're celebrating, I want to be able to be there and remember everything and just really be with the person that's in front of me. Because usually, when you're drinking at a party or over dinner, it's with somebody that you don't get to see all the time. And the friendships I have are important. The time I have to myself without the kids is really important to me. So I want to make sure I'm in touch with my feelings and feeling very present. I know that sometimes I have had a little more to drink because something was hard, and I would know, and I would even tell Michael, you know what, today I'm going to have two glasses or maybe an extra one because it's been a really hard week. And this is my way right now of processing it. Tomorrow I will deal with it, but right now I just really need to relax and get out of my head. And I know I'm still going to have moments like that in the future, but I want to have fewer moments like that. And I want to be able to just be there and take in what I need to take in, whether that's difficult or whether it's happy. That was a very vulnerable episode. I mean, talk about drinking and that conversation around what you do when you're drinking or not drinking is one that I think we don't have enough. I don't really hear people talk about it. And I'm going to have my friend Steve come. I think it's going to be next month. You're going to get the podcast episode. And he's going to talk about his own journey with not drinking because I've seen there's been a trend of people wanting to be more healthy for their mental state or their body and wanting to drink less. And I do want to open up this conversation more because for me, I have decided after 30 days I'm not going to be completely sober for life, but I do have this new awareness and lessons to take with me so that when I do decide I'm going to have more to drink or even a glass of wine to drink, I know my intention behind it and I know what I want for myself. If this is a conversation that you're really interested in, I'd love to hear your own story or your own struggles with drinking or not drinking. You can send me an email at hello@myclosetedit.com. I think that's the easiest way to get in touch with me is through email. But if you are on Instagram and you're already following me, you can also message me there and tag this episode. Share this with somebody that you want to have a conversation about this with. I know that podcasts are a great conversation starter and a way to bring up conversations that maybe you don't normally have with somebody that you care about. My husband and I, that's my way of bringing something up with him that I want to talk about. I'm like, hey, babe, I heard this podcast. Let me share it with you. So I want to encourage you to also reach out to people that you love and want to talk about this with. And you can tag them and share the podcast episode with them too. An easy way that you can support the podcast is by leaving the 5-star review and sharing what you learned. It's the best way for us to reach more people and to continue having conversations that can change your life and guide you toward what you want for yourself. Continue building a life and a style that truly reflect you. I'll catch you next time.